fitin10 Nation, it is day 8 of the challenge, day 8. And yesterday I talked a lot about carbohydrates and, of course, essentially what happens or how your body sort of regulates sugar or blood sugar in a very simplistic fashion, of course. And, of course, I didn't want to scare you with that. Again, really carbohydrates for a lot of you, I know a lot of you at least think that carbohydrates are bad for fat loss. But, I really want to stress to you that, yeah, if you eat a lot of carbohydrates, just like if you overconsume calories, okay? But if you overconsume carbohydrates, yeah, you're going to get fat. But, this applies to fat too. You can't just eat, endless amounts of fat and think you're going to get leaner, okay? Now, there is a bit of a danger with carbohydrates in that carbohydrates are just non-satiating. That is the one macro you can eat on its own, and just it seems like you can eat endless amounts of it, right? I mean, how many times have you sat down and and maybe eaten some donuts or cake or cookies or something, muffin or something? You've never sat down and said, "Man, I just can't stop eating steak," right? I seriously doubt that's ever happened, right? Or it's like, Jesus, I could just eat another chicken breast. That would be so great. I guarantee you've probably never thought that, but I'm sure you've had that thought with, I don't know, a cracker or chips or something, right? Something carbohydrate based, more so. Okay, well, I guess chips are higher in fat too, but and so we've had this idea that carbohydrates are so evil, but it's really the types of carbohydrates, the manufactured foods that are out there that are, on a large part, a lot of the manufactured foods are carbohydrate based. And it's the amount of carbohydrates that people are eating. Okay, so that's really why it got a bad name. I mean, I suppose if people were overeating protein or fat, the same way they were overeating carbohydrates, we would probably hear the same kind of, well, we wouldn't hear the exact same kind of issues people were having, but they would probably, it would raise some alarm. Okay, so it's really about that amount. Now, part of this. Part of the takeaway from this challenge is for you to understand that you don't need to be extreme with what you do, right? You just need to be reasonable, and part of being reasonable is getting a whole variety of foods, including carbohydrates in your diet. And you can still, lose a tremendous amount of body fat and keep body fat off, keeping some carbohydrates in your diet. Will your carbohydrates go down this challenge? Yes, of course. Okay, we're gonna reduce your calories, so as a result, we got to remove some macros. So yeah, that's gonna happen. So we will reduce the calories, but one thing I just want to touch upon here, and I will talk more about this in a future video, is your calorie amount is important. Okay, you don't want to create too much of a deficit. Okay, you do not want to create too much of a deficit. Short term, you'll lose more body fat. Yes. Long term, it won't be so good. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So try to get those calories in. Anything else I want to say? Water. I know I responded to this in my Fitness Pal already. For your water intake, have about a liter of water for every 40 to 50 pounds of body weight. Okay, that's very, very reasonable. All right, your body has homeostatic measures for keeping water in the body, and then of course expelling water, right? The more water you drink, the more your body will expel water. The less water you drink, the more your body will conserve water, okay? It has that homeostatic measure, okay? Now, that's not to say you can't get dehydrated, but on a whole, if you're having, like I said, a liter for every 40 to 50 pounds of body weight, you should be fine. And of course, I can't forget that there is some truth to getting sufficient amount of water and having a slightly higher metabolic rate. So, making sure you get enough water in your diet, in your daily intake, will raise your metabolic rate by a couple percent. Okay, nothing huge, but by a little bit. Okay, all right. Let's talk about weight training. Why do I have you weight train? Why not just do 4.5 hours you're doing 3 hours of weight training per week. Why not just do 3 hours of running or something, right? because you'd probably burn more calories just going for a straight run. So what is it about weight training? Well, there's several reasons I want you to weight train, and yes, I know I'm partial to it, but there are, legitimately speaking, removing my partiality towards it, there are many reasons why it is in your interest, in particular, to do some resistance-based training like we are currently doing. All right, so let's go through, well, I won't be able to get through all these in today's video, but let's get through some of them. Okay, so number one, it gives you a toned look. Okay, now this may be the least important reason to you, or maybe the most important reason, but it does give you a toned look, which is a more youthful look, which is a leaner look. What is tonicity? What is muscle tonicity? It's basically building muscle density. It's basically building more muscle mass, is exactly what it is. When you change your body composition, you are either adding or losing body fat, and or adding or losing muscle mass. There is nothing in between that. There is no lengthening muscle. There is no building lean muscle and versus fat muscle. There's no such thing as fat muscle. There is no building bulk versus lean muscle. You're either gaining fat or you're not. Okay? You're either gaining muscle or you're not. Okay, so that's literally what it is. So you may have heard people saying, I'm bulking or I'm doing this. If somebody says they're bulking, then they're adding some muscle and fat is what they're doing, okay? If somebody says, I just want to get toned, then what they're trying to do here is to improve their muscle mass, their total muscle mass, okay? So, gives you more of a toned look, i.e. builds more muscle, okay? Number two, puts a little more stretch in the skin, so it gives the skin a little more youthful look. Now, as we age, we lose collagen in the skin, especially us white folk, okay, more so. And if we can build some more tissue underneath that skin, then we can keep the skin a little more stretched and it will look a little more youthful. Number three, okay, well, I already said this. It builds more muscle, and there's lots of offshoots to building muscle that helps you to stay lean. And of course, one of those is improving your basal metabolic rate, right? For every pound of muscle, the body's going to burn an extra, I think it's roughly about 20 calories, okay? Now, that may not seem a lot to you, but let's say you add 5 pounds to your muscle over time. Let's say you add 5 pounds of muscle to your frame over time. That's 100 calories per day, 100 calories every single day. That adds up, okay? It increases your bone density. This is super important, especially as you age, especially for those of you over the age of 50. As we age, okay, let's start really at the age of like your mid-20s. Okay, you start to slowly decline in muscle mass and bone density, okay? More so after the age of 50. But if you're weight training, you know, with enough resistance, you're going to maintain or maybe build some muscle and some bone density. Okay, now this is really important, especially as you get into your later years, because I'm sure many of you have had an elderly person in your family fall and break their hip. Why did they break their hip? It's because they fell like 20 feet? No, it's because they fell like a foot or two, probably not even on that hard of a surface, and they have no bone density, so their bones just break. So this is going to prevent that, okay? Especially the earlier you start. All right, so really important. This is really important for your quality of life. And my uncle, who's not even that old, he's in his well, I guess he's in his later 70s. He just recently was skiing. He skis every year. He was skiing this past winter. He fell. He couldn't get up. Why couldn't he get up? Couldn't get off the ground. It's because he wasn't strong enough. He just reached the point where he had his strength had decreased enough, he can't get off the ground without help. Okay, so now he's thinking, okay, I gotta start weight training. Okay, but it would have helped him if he had started this, 10 or, well, even many more years before that. But if he just even started 5 years ago, right, would have helped him tremendously. Okay, I've got many more points to read off here, okay? So let's visit that tomorrow. Okay, message of the day. Message of the day is this. It is something I want you to repeat to yourself. It's really important. I love this message, and it goes like this, as cheesy as it sounds. It goes, I am amazing. I can do anything. Positivity is a choice. I celebrate my individuality. That's really important, by the way. That's extra important, I'm going to say. I am prepared to succeed. Okay, I'm going to read that one more time. I am amazing. I can do anything. Positivity is a choice. I celebrate my individuality and I am prepared to succeed. You are amazing. Amazing is a choice, okay? You all have the capability to do a lot more than what you currently do. You know, as I've said before, this whole challenge is just executing, right? So you can do this. You can do every aspect of this challenge. It doesn't require talent, okay? Positivity is a choice. Of course it is, right? It's just mindset, all right? Just be thankful for what you have and you'll immediately become more positive. I celebrate my individuality. You should, all right? Now, many of us may have looked at somebody else and said, man, I wish I was that, or I wish I was this. But listen, each and every one of us has a role in this world. And this world would be super boring if if we all like the same things, if we all had the same job, if we all looked the same, like, if we all, whatever, okay? I am sometimes flabbergasted why people are threatened by individuality or difference amongst people. Like, it's so, I find, for me, it's fascinating. And this is really something that is necessary in life, right? I mean, this is the beauty, really, truly the beauty of life. And we wouldn't have all the things we do if it wasn't for people, fostering their individuality, fostering what they love, being who they are, right? All right, said enough on that. And of course, you are prepared to succeed. That's why you joined this challenge, because you are prepared to succeed, right? Okay, enough of me talking. Day 8 wrap up here, positive energy, positive vibes. As always, believe in yourself, and for the love of God, give some gratitude. You'll be a more positive person if you're not already, okay? We'll talk to you all very soon. See ya.